Sawadee Krap, and welcome to another quick episode here from the Funkit Pod. If you listen to, and of course you have, or watched the previous episodes, I always dissected the podcast into several parts, and now I just take those parts and take them out and publish them separately, so it's just easier for those who are interested in MMA to just listen, watch the MMA part, those who are into media studies, watch the media studies part, those who are into general rambling. I'm not sure if I keep doing that or now like this one now, just talking a little bit about academics, because I think there's quite some misconceptions, stereotypes, and I don't know, maybe even some interest out there to hear about like what's happening in an academic life, or like how academics work, and so on. So this is the first time doing this standalone academics thing, so it's not going to be more than 10 minutes, because otherwise I feel like a professor in front of a class just rambling, so I'm not going to do this. But just giving you some insights during my quick break time right now. And there's actually one thing that probably most, at least my students, wouldn't expect, that we actually have to work even though there are no classes, right? So right now there are no classes, but we do have meetings, we plan classes, obviously. Do your research. I just had to submit a research proposal to Meta, actually, because they have some grants that they're giving out to certain people who hand in proposals. So I just handed in a research proposal for like a Meta grant. Don't add me for selling out. It seems like an interesting topic, and so I hope that gets us somewhere, especially in this area, because I haven't seen many people talking about this in here in Southeast Asia. So I hope that works. So fingers crossed. So yeah, doing research proposals, writing academic papers. You have like a KPI, key performance indicator, basically for your work evaluation every year. So you have to hit a certain amount of teaching, a certain amount of research, a certain amount of publishing. If you go to conferences, if you present at conferences, if you do workshops, so you have to hit all those things. So it's more than meets the eye, so to speak. So it's not just go to a class and then just wing it. There's even though it might look like this sometimes, I hope not in my classes, but there's more to it, right? So right now the semester is going to start in 2 weeks around, and so right now what's happening is so I just handed into this proposal. The deadline is next week, so hey, 1 week ahead of deadline. And then of course preparing classes, meaning you have to actually write down the syllabus in a specific form, hand this into university so university can approve it. So you have to do this. You have to invite guest lecturers if you have them, get like signatures and so on from universities. They sign off. If you plan other things like taking students on a trip, what I'm doing in one class, for example, you have to plan this, write a memorandum, a memo, hand it in, get approval. If I'm planning to do like an event for the other class where I invite more companies to speak on stage and so on, I have to send out invitations. I have to get approval from the university. So there's all just like this planning process just takes forever. I'm also doing a collaboration with another university. So they will, from Indonesia, so another country, they will do some, maybe like a guest lecture with one of my classes. I do guest lecture with their classes, and then our students will collaborate on group projects, like cross-country group projects. And so now we are also playing this. We're meeting then on Zoom once in a while, sending emails back and forth. So all this administrative stuff just takes a lot of time that you might not see or think of when you see someone working in education. I'm not complaining, because everybody has this work to do. I'm just explaining that we also have this kind of work to do, this administrative work. Besides that, and right now what I'm doing is also still reading and checking thesis. I have 15 students that write a thesis with me. The ultimate deadline is the first week of August. So now everyone's in panic mode trying to finish their thesis. So I have to read like their updates, give them feedback and so on, which is, as you can imagine, if there are 15 students and average thesis is, 60 to 80 pages or so. So it's lots of reading. And yes, I do read it because I feel otherwise I can't give honest or practical feedback, obviously. And since the students ask me to be their advisor, it's kind of like a trust thing too. Like they trust me with giving them actual feedback. So I think I have to give them actual feedback. Some are better than others, of course. Some you can tell take it very serious. Others not so much. But still, everybody deserves some kind of feedback, obviously. So that's also a thing that just takes lots of time right now. In order to manage all those things, and I know it sounds pretty lame, and I didn't do it for a long time, but I've eventually, especially right now, like you do lots of work from home because if there are no classes, I'm not at campus unless there's a meeting or an event, or like on Friday we have a freshman orientation, for example. So I'll be there talking on stage to our freshmen and the second year students. So otherwise I'm home right now, and I did realize that it's quite tough to figure out like how to work from home, right? I mean, we all did it during COVID more or less, but let's be honest, we all kind of like winged it, and then you went to your Zoom meetings and you're like, oh, so it's hard, I think, and so I'm trying, and I'm not a fan of it. I wasn't a fan of it because I think of myself to be more of a creative person, but then again, you need some structure to also have creativity flowing, I believe. So right now, I'm in my calendar. I have like a schedule for every day, unless there is something that's more important, right? So for example, tomorrow I have an interview scheduled, I think from 12 to 1 p.m. So this, of course, now basically to use programming terms, overrides my schedule that I have every day, unless there is something more important. So my schedule right now is I wake up at 6:30 a.m. I give myself 30 minutes to really wake up, to play with my cats, to wake my cats up, to give them some food. Then at 7, I schedule to have my protein shake that I mix by myself. Still playing with the cats, opening the balcony, let the cats run around here, have some fun if they're already awake. Sometimes they're still too sleepy in the morning. 7:30, I start exercising for an hour. 7:30 to 8:30, I exercise. Then. Yeah, shower, all those things, still some cat time on the balcony or like running around and whatnot, playing with them, so that I do spend some quality time with the cats as well, and they're not just sitting around. And then starting to work at 9, starting to work on my first to-do. So I have a block in my calendar called that's like to-do 1 is from 9 a.m. to 10:30. Then I have a 30-minute break. Going to the supermarket, buying some food for the afternoon, stuff like that. Recording a podcast. Then the next session, the next to-do is then from 11 to 12:30. It's to-do number 2. It's also like just a placeholder. Then 12:30 to 1:30 is lunch break. I usually cook something at home right now. I'm trying to lose some weight, to be a bit more healthy again, since I can't exercise that much right now. And then from 1:30 to 3 p.m. is then to-do number 3. And then that's it in regards to the to-dos, or like what I want to accomplish. Then everything after is like what pops to my head. Like, oh, I have to do this. I have to post that. I have to write an article here. I have to publish this. I have to share that. I have a space for like post LinkedIn updates, to create a blog post, for example. That's all what happens then afterwards. Okay, when like uni work or whatever work needs to be done is done. And then to fill those to-do placeholders, like every night before I go to bed, I take out my iPad and I'm just writing down, okay, to-dos for tomorrow are this. And then I I order them. Like, for example, to-do number 1 is always check emails. So I check emails in the morning, and okay, because that's the first thing you start with, right? And then you're like, okay, first to-do done, nice. You can cross it out. And to-do number 2 is this, to-do number 3 this. So I prioritize or like order them. And then the last to-do is usually also something rather easy, like post a social media update on my professional profile or on my LinkedIn or something, just to make also sure that the last to-do is also one that I definitely can accomplish and finish, and then finish my to-do list on like a high, on like a positive note. So that's how I schedule my days right now. All right, so that's just the quick intro into like this part of the academic podcast corner on the Funkit Pod. As soon as semester starts. So actually, because right now I'm basically done planning my classes. So then in the next episode, so to speak, in the next academic corner, I'm going to talk about a few classes, maybe like how I structured them, because I restructured all my classes this semester, which was quite, or for the coming semester, which is quite exhausting, but I'm also quite excited about it. Actually, like no fake excitement, actually real excitement to test this all out. But then more on this in the next, I almost said Coaches Con, in the next Academic Con. I need to find a better name for this. Okay, so that's it for now, because also my time is running out, because my next to-do is on my calendar. So I have to get to this. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, or if you want to share some of your best practices, what you're doing, and the like, do shout out. Email is funkitpod@gmail.com, or just all my social media. You can find me everywhere. If you like those things, if you're interested, like, share, subscribe, obviously. Rate this thing. If you rate it, more people can find it. Maybe you can have like an academic outreach support, maybe an academic support community. That'd be cool. Until then, as always, please do stay safe, take care, submit before the deadline, don't forget your citations, and we'll talk soon. Sawadee Krap.